One thing as you get into higher level math that you have to kind of know is what we call, um, operations with polynomials. And knowing what a polynomial is very, very important. Okay, so this will help. Like these are like prerequisite skills for Math 2. So let's take a look. A term is basically a coefficient and variables linked by multiplication. And with that, I look at it and I'll say 3x is a term, right? And the coefficient of that term is 3. The variable expression of this term is x, okay? Now, when we take a bunch of these terms and we link them together by addition and subtraction, what we get is a polynomial, right? And this is a bunch of terms, right, linked by addition and subtraction. All right. So an example of this would be like 4x squared plus 3x minus 1. You have 1, 2, 3 terms. Okay. So in this, we have names for certain polynomials, right? If we have a polynomial with one term, right, that would be a monomial. So an example of this would be like 4x. Another example would be like 3. Anytime you have a polynomial with one term and it's just a number, this is referred to as a constant. Okay? Now a binomial is a polynomial with two terms. An example of this would be like 4x plus 3. Then a polynomial with 3 terms would be called a trinomial. And that would be like something up above. I could have like 5x squared minus 4x plus 2. You have 3 terms linked by addition and subtraction, and you get that. So if we go ahead and we classify polynomials by the number of terms, if I look at this example, right, this here has 3 terms. So there are 3 terms, and we call this a trinomial. Okay, the next one has 1, 2, 3, 4. Anything that has more than 3 terms, we call a polynomial. This one has 2 terms, so we're going to call that a binomial. And the last one, you have 1 term, and that would be a monomial. Okay, now the standard form of a polynomial is basically when a polynomial is written in descending exponential order. All right, so when I look up here, this one is written in standard form because it goes x to the third, x to the second, then constant. This one is not written in standard form. Okay, how do I write this one in standard form? Well, the highest exponent is here, so that term is going to be written first. Negative 2x to the fifth. I always take the sign to the left. Then it's going to be 5x to the third, so plus 5x to the third, plus 14x squared minus 1. Okay, so that's considered standard form. Now, the degree of a polynomial is the largest exponent when the polynomial is written in standard form. For example, this one would be degree 3. This would be degree 5. It's the highest exponent, represents the degree. Now, the leading coefficient is a coefficient of the term with the highest degree when written in standard form. So, for example, this one, right, the leading coefficient would be 1. This example, the leading coefficient would be negative 2. Now, when we classify a polynomial by degree, a degree 0, meaning there's no variable, right? That would just be a constant, right? A degree 1, where the highest exponent is 1, right? Or just like 4x, that's called a linear, right, function or polynomial. Degree 2, such as 3x squared plus 4, degree 2 would be a quadratic. And degree 3, where the highest exponent is 3, that would be cubic. All right. Anything else, we're just going to go ahead and say degree 5, degree 6. That's what we're going to do. So if we take these first couple of examples, they want us to write them in standard form, name them by number of terms, name by degree, and what is the leading coefficient. So the first example here, highest degree is 2. So when we write it in standard form, I'm going to do negative 10x squared plus 12x plus 4. Okay. Right away, I look at it, it has 3 terms. So the name by terms would be a trinomial. Name by degree, right? Since the highest exponent is 2, the degree is 2, which makes it a quadratic. And the leading coefficient would be negative 10. Okay. The next one, highest degree is 3, so we're going to write that term first. So 8x to the third, I cross it out because I've used it. Then minus 2x squared, cross it out, minus 7x plus 5. Now, if I name it by the number of terms, there are 4 terms. So this, we're just going to go ahead and call it a polynomial. The name by degree, that's degree 3, which tells me right away this is cubic. And the leading coefficient of this would be 8. So do me a favor, try the next few examples by yourself and come back and check your answers. So right away in the first example, you only have 1 term, therefore standard form is just 6. And it's only 1 term, so it's a monomial. The name by degree, because there's no variable expression, the degree is 0, which makes it a constant with a leading coefficient of 6. The next one, right, when you put it in standard form, 8x squared minus 3x minus 7. Since it has 3 terms, it's a trinomial, and the degree is quadratic. All right, and the rest, go ahead and check on your own. But you notice here, actually change that m to an x, but if you're subtracting it here, when you write it in standard form, you have to keep it subtraction. Okay? Now, as we scroll down, what is the difference between classifying a polynomial by degree and classifying by the number of terms, right? When I look at the number of terms, right, I'm looking at number of terms. I'm looking at how many terms are linked by addition or subtraction. If I look at the exponent, that would be the degree. Okay, so go ahead, try the homework, and let me know if you have any questions.